Well, Scott Turner and Jack Del Rio have spoken. Let's start with Scott Turner. First of all, he said, quote, he had an indication, unquote, that he would get the chance as the Redskins offensive coordinator, and he basically gave Ron Rivera his plan for the offense and developing Dwayne Haskins, and then Ron Rivera extended an offer, and Scott Turner was like, yes sir, let's do it. And I feel so sorry for Haskins over this past year, especially with all this Joe Burrow mess going on. He had one of the worst quarterback setups ever. The previous regime didn't like him. The new regime just got wiped out, so he has to get used to new people again. It's as if he just got redrafted. And with all of the flashes and potential he showed us, now he finally has coaches that care about him, want to see him succeed, and are invested in him. And they're good coaches too. Watch Dwayne Haskins shine 2020, especially with Scott Turner as his offensive coordinator and Ken Zampese as his QB coach. So I want to go through some notable quotes from both Scott Turner and Jack Del Rio, but of course I'm starting with Scott Turner. First of all, he said, we have versatility within our system where we're really going to play to our strengths. We're going to fit our scheme to our personnel, and I love that. Terry McLaurin being an AB type, Steven Sims, trick plays out of the backfield, dominant slot receiver. Darius Geis and Bryce Love being great pass catching options, but also, of course, they're great in between the tackles. I'm looking forward to Scott Turner actually using our offensive talent and potential to its max. We have a lot of great pieces. Coaches just haven't been able to put it all together and formed it into production on the field. I feel like Scott Turner will actually be able to do that, and we'll actually see a very exciting Redskins offense in 2020 and beyond. Also, Scott Turner has confirmed that he wants to do a lot of play action, especially with Dwayne Haskins' arm. And he wants to get a lot of quick passes out there, which is also something that Kevin O'Connell implemented in those last couple of games where Dwayne Haskins started to really shine. Quick passes, fairly easy reads, get the ball out quickly with that zip of an arm that he has to throw it into tight windows and move the ball. And when asked what Scott Turner sees in Dwayne Haskins, he said, big, strong guy who can push the ball down the field. We want to use a lot of play action pass, like I just said. Something he's also done in the past to get the ball quick, like I just said, and distribute the ball to the playmakers. So based on what I've seen from Scott Turner in Carolina and what he just said, I'm expecting Terry McLaurin and Steven Sims, their biggest playmakers, to get the ball a lot. And not only just them, but Darius Geis, Bryce Love, and Kelvin Harmon will also be heavily involved in the offense. No more will we force it to guys like Paul Richardson because we paid them too much money and we needed to make sense on the books. Now we're giving the ball to the guys who are best at what they do, and it's as simple as that, and I love it. All of that pettiness and holding on to decisions they made in the past and got to make themselves look smart, no more of that. This is a new Redskins regime. They're only attached to the best players, not the players they're attached to because of reputation. Also, Scott Turner, more specifically to Dwayne Haskins, said that he was a really big fan of Dwayne Haskins coming out of Ohio State, and he felt that Dwayne Haskins got better as the year went on. I completely agree. Seems obvious, but I'm glad that he actually went on and said it and acknowledged it. He also said that he had a really high grade on Dwayne Haskins coming out of Ohio State University, so I know he's excited to work with him. Scott Turner also said that the biggest thing for Dwayne Haskins is just getting him more experience. So I'm expecting Dwayne Haskins to be the guy immediately. Minicamp, training camp, preseason, and to start the regular season, unlike what Dwayne Haskins had this past year. Dwayne Haskins was getting mistreated like crazy throughout the offseason, especially training camp. He was out there with the backup and practice squad people practicing. How is he supposed to develop that way? Please let me know. Let me know for all you Dwayne Haskins haters. You gotta let me know. Also, Scott Turner addressed that the biggest key for developing young quarterbacks is he has to be the most committed guy in the building, period. Other guys on the team will see it when it's there, and guys will definitely see it when it's not. Dwayne Haskins has to show he wants it. So I like that little challenge from Scott Turner to Dwayne Haskins, basically saying, I love your potential. I love what you've done on tape in college and recently. But now I need to love what you're doing off the field also. I also like that he said that the quarterback has to know the offense better than anybody. It's kind of obvious, but again, just like what I said earlier, I'm glad that he acknowledged it out loud. He's basically talking directly to Dwayne Haskins with some of these responses. Dwayne Haskins, I really hope you're listening. Now on to Jack Del Rio, our defensive coordinator. And even though I'm most excited about what Kevin O'Connell said the most as far as going into the future and this current season coming up. I liked what Jack Del Rio said the most. I love his attitude. Like, most of his answers basically just sound like none of your business. Do you and we're gonna do us. Don't worry about us. We got it over here, basically. But let me get into the quotes. First of all, I love the fact that he said, we'll respect everyone, but fear no one. So basically he's saying we will treat everybody with respect. We'll fully prepare for them as if they're the best of the best in the league. We'll take no game for granted, no matter how easy it may seem on the schedule, according to fans and sports analysts and all of that. We will treat every game like they're the hardest opponent we'll face all year. But he also said they'll fear nobody. So when they go against the great teams, the long-standing successful franchises like the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, all of them, there will be no fear. We don't care what you did in the past. We believe we're great now, and we about to go get this win, straight up. I love the fact that he truly believes that, and I super love the fact that he's going to get the players to believe that. And I know Jonathan Allen, Landon Collins, and Terry McLaurin love that type of mentality. Love to hear one of their coaches say that. But here goes one of the none your business comments. They asked him what are the strengths and weaknesses of the defense so far. And he said that he basically doesn't feel like that's in the best interest of the Redskins to share that information. And it makes sense. I know the reporters are doing their jobs. I love the fact that they're asking these questions, but at the end of the day, it's definitely best for Jack Del Rio not to answer these questions. Don't do the scouting for another team for them. Don't do the film session for them. Let them figure it out themselves. They asked Jack Del Rio on which positions he believes they need to bolster. And he said, we'll develop those thoughts on what our greatest needs are and that they don't feel like they need to share that information with anybody. Also, I really like that Jack Del Rio said in his first meeting with the other defensive coaches, he said, it's not about me, it's we. And that same philosophy will be applied to Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio as far as scheming up the defense. Two defensive-minded head coaches. Jack Del Rio will, of course, be in charge of all of it, but Ron Rivera will have some input into it. This is a team effort, and all of them want to be successful. No selfishness, no egos, no nothing, just winning. Just commitment, hard work, all of that. I love it. Also, thank you, Jack Del Rio, for acknowledging the fact that Redskins defenders were confused a lot last year. Pre-snap just looked lost, didn't know what to do, where they were supposed to be, where they were supposed to be going, who they were supposed to be covering, all of that. He said there was definitely an issue there with players being confused pre-snap, and that's definitely one of the biggest issues he wants to tackle as the defensive coordinator. And that's big because players play way better when they know what they're doing. When they don't have to think and then react, if they can be proactive, it changes everything. Football is a game of milliseconds, and those make a huge difference. It also gives them more confidence. And as far as sharing information, Jack Del Rio basically said he appreciates the media asking him these questions as far as Redskins' weaknesses, strengths, and all of that, and where they need to improve. But he basically said if Ron Rivera chooses to share it, then he'll let Ron Rivera handle it, but it's not in his place to do so. And I love that. Respect for one another. And I love the fact that Jack Del Rio keeps saying teach and develop. That basically means these young guys are about to start balling. We're about to see more Matt Ioannidis situations where we take a homegrown player and make them great. I'm expecting more of that. We've had a couple of them, Quentin Dunbar, Matt Ioannidis. I'm expecting a lot more in the future. It's not just drafting the guys, developing them is definitely the other half of the battle. Doesn't matter how well Cal Smith drafts, it takes coaches to develop the players and make them actually productive, consistent, and great. I also love the fact, and I'm pretty sure Jack Del Rio loves it too, that this situation of the Redskins is perfect for him. This team has a lot of talent, but it underperformed. So when he gets them performing to their potential, they will be great, and he'll basically get all of the credit, or at least most of it. But yeah, like I said earlier, he said all you got to do is watch the tape. There were countless communication issues pre-snap all over the place. And he definitely plans to address that. That's one of his main goals this offseason, going into the season. And another quote I love for him. For me right now, it's about going to work. I don't really want to talk a whole lot. I love that. Our play on the field is about to do the talking for us. I don't really even need to say too much on this mic. Let him know, Jack Del Rio. Also, I love how open-minded he is. He says he's doing a lot of film sessions and research on each player that's on this team. But he also said that every player will have a chance to change minds. He's evaluating everyone, and his goal is to teach and develop every single one of them if he feels like they're worthy of being on this team. So he's doing his research, he's doing his homework, looking at what the Redskins have on roster, and even with some preconceived notions he may have of them after watching film, he's still open-minded enough to give them another chance to prove themselves. I love it. You hear that, Monte Nicholson? Also, a big one, Jack Del Rio addressed that horrible third down defense we've had. I mean, 3rd and 15 was just food on us. Offenses just didn't care. It was like having to pick up 3rd and 2. He said potential doesn't really matter at the end of the day. We need production on that field. And them 3rd and longs, we're going to have to handle that. Also, I like the fact that he addressed that there's a lot of people with pride on this team that want to win. It's not just him coming in forcing people to care. He already sees that there's a lot of people who really care on this team, and it's just time to get to work. I'm so excited about the future of this team, and that Scott Turner and Jack Del Rio presser was big. I loved a lot of quotes they had in there, and I'm really glad they had that presser today. They got me hype over here, man. I'm not going to lie to you. But that's it for this Redskins report. I'm already currently working on that Washington Panthers video. I'm like halfway done editing it, but then these press conferences came out of nowhere. I had to do a video on it. So this video is about to go out now, and I'm gonna have that Carolina Panthers video coming out a little later tonight. So make sure you like this video if you felt it, if you learned anything, if you're hyped about the Redskins future, all of that. Please subscribe if you haven't. Redskins content coming endlessly, live streams, draft talk, Redskins videos, all of that. There's a button at the bottom left. All you gotta do is click that logo and you subscribe. It's that easy. And make sure y'all comment and share. Let me know how y'all feel about this press conference. Are y'all as hype as I am? Do y'all see the potential in Scott Turner and Jack Del Rio? And again, thank y'all for the support. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.